Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, students, and friends, good evening. Thank you all for joining us for this year's Kamal Salibi Memorial Lecture, a series dedicated to honoring the legacy of one of Lebanon's foremost historians and public intellectuals. It is truly a privilege to gather once again to remember Professor Kamal Salibi, not only for his pioneering scholarship, but for his unwavering commitment to historical truth and the service of understanding. To us, the tribe of Kamal Salibi, or as we fondly called him, Al-Muallim, especially those of us who had the honor and privilege to learn from him in class, on his balcony, or through his star pupil, the late Sultan Abdurrahim Abu Hussein, Salibi was not merely a great historian. He was a great man, a scholar for all seasons. He taught us history, yes, but above all, he installed in us something even greater: loyalty, respect, kindness, and above all, humility. Back in 2007, as I was writing my MA thesis on Salibi's dining table, I got a phone call from a friend. I told him that I had been accepted to St. Anthony's and that I was looking forward to studying under the great Eugene Rogan. And I made the sin, the unforgivable sin, of calling him by his first name. When I hung up the phone, Salibi gave me a stern rebuke. He reminded me in no uncertain terms never to address my elders, especially my teachers, by their first names. Although I never got the chance to go to St. Anthony's, nor to be a direct pupil of Professor Rogan, I, like many of us here, can still claim to be one of his students through the works he continues to publish and the legacy he continues to shape. This evening, we are especially honored to welcome Professor Eugene Rogan, Director of the Middle East Center at St. Anthony's College, Oxford, and one of the most distinguished historians on the modern Arab world. Professor Rogan's work has constantly combined meticulous archival research with compelling narrative clarity. From the Arabs' history to the fall of the Ottomans, he brought to life the turbulent histories of this region with depth, nuance, and humanity. Tonight, he returns to a foundational rupture in the story of the modern Middle East, the Damascus Massacre of 1860, the subject of his new book, an already widely acclaimed book, The Damascus Events, the 1860 Massacre, and the Destruction of the Ottoman World. This is a book that speaks not only to the past, but urgently to the present. At a time when sectarianism is too often manipulated to divide societies, and when imperial legacies still cast long shadows over politics, Professor Rogan's study offers a sobering account of what happens when the delicate balance of multi-confessional world begins to unravel. With scholarly precision and moral clarity, he reconstructs the world of 19th century Damascus, a world torn between reform and reaction, trust and betrayal, diversity and destruction. It is also a work that resonates deeply with the intellectual path charted by Kamal Salibi himself, who in 1969 wrote one of the earliest modern studies of the Damascus massacres, based on the account of Al-Sayyid Muhammad al-Saud al-Hasibi, a notable and later Naqib al-Ashraf of the city. Salibi's work, as many of you know, inspired generations of scholars that followed. Like Salibi, Professor Rogan refuses the comfort of nostalgia and nationalism. He takes us into the archives, into the streets, and into the minds of those who lived through the violence, not simply to retell a tragedy, but to understand how empires falter, how communities fracture, and how memory persists. We could not have asked for a more timely or more meaningful lecture. While this talk is part of our legacy as a department, it happens to fit very well within the year-long events which we launched on the 13th of April to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the start of the Lebanese Civil War, events which will continue throughout the year. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Professor Eugene Rogan.